Welcome to the podcast of disaster. I'm your host, JCR1216, and after a long time, joining me is my co-host.
Hello, I'm LordM from the
We have a very interesting thing to talk about today. The first issue of the DCX Sonic event. I personally thought it was really good.
Yeah, I like it too. It's I never expected to actually see my whole life Sonic in the DC universe to put in some way.
Yeah, it was definitely something I never thought would ever exist. Obviously got announced during Year of Shadow, but the fact that we got to
Yeah,
see Sonic with DC, even though it's already been out for some time, it's still insane. I like the fact that we get to see, Sonic and the Flash team up along with like Knuckles and Superman. Obviously, there's supposed to be a lot of counterparts to the certain events.
yeah. I also love the interactions they have with the DC cast. Shadow and Batman being kind of the same, quote unquote. And I did not expect that Knuckles and Superman kind of should be a mirror of each other because I thought that would be Sonic and Superman because both are the main heroes of their respective franchise.
Yeah. I was kind of shocked with some of the matchups. Sonic being the Flash though was kind of like the easy gimme. But in terms of like superheroes though, when people think of DC, it's usually Batman and Superman, so it is pretty awesome to see Knuckles and Shadow get that deserved spotlight.
Yeah. Also Tails too, because I thought for a moment that maybe Tails gonna be taking a back seat and be behind a computer telling, hey guys, we have to do this. But no, being in the front again, nice. Also Silver, don't forget the Silver actually popped out.
Yeah, them pulling Darkseid as well for this, who's the main antagonist of some of the biggest DC events, is pretty awesome.
Yep. One thing I want to know, Mr. JCR, what are your thoughts on uh, on the characters interacting with the DC cast? For example, how to say it? That Shadow interacting with Batman and venting on each other. What's your thought on that one?
That was to me one of the best parts of it. If there's one thing Ian Flynn does really well, it is crossover events. I feel like those allow him to have a little bit more of a no holding back, especially since this is mainly being handled by DC and not IDW.
Yeah, I also see that. This is the first crossover I saw between two franchise they actually care. Well, kind of because I stopped reading DC after I think the reset, they made a massive reset, and every continuity is supposed to be now one thing.
Yeah.
Now, the pairing I kind of like the most of all of this is Tails and Cyborg, because honestly, I always was thinking of pairing Tails if we have to be in a crossover, with someone like I don't know Robin, any of the Robin, because he's the psychic, and some of the Robin are kind of smart, and that combination was the one I was running one with. But him and Cyborg, yeah, I did not expect that. I want to see what they cook with this.
Yeah. It was really interesting seeing all of the different character Amy and Wonder Woman was pretty neat for what we saw in the first one. I like the fact that
Yeah,
there are more of a focus on introducing it like lightly because we know these characters, especially since these are like the most iconic characters on both sides. So it is really awesome getting to see everything just get fleshed out in a nice way because it's a really well paced issue. Everything goes from 25 to 50, then it goes to 75, then to 100, but it's a nice gradual pace. Nothing felt rushed. Everything felt nice and calm, even though there's a lot of action in it.
yeah. Something something that I did notice. It's a good thing they use normal parademons and not the apocalypse war parademons because they will be cool. If you saw the movie, you will get what I'm talking about.
Yeah. It was one of the neatest things. I'm just lost for words because how neat and like exciting it is. Just seeing all of this like come together. The art was incredible. Adam did a fantastic job with all of the art. The background, everything looks stunning. Especially when we get to see
They
Sonic
put
and Flash running.
yeah, they put a whole soul into this. They really enjoying their work here.
Yeah, every single expression, every single dynamic is brilliant. I do wonder how Eggman's going to play a part into this. Obviously we know that he's going to be in this somewhat because
It has to be like,
yeah, because counterparts. I do wonder since DC is notorious for animating their comic runs into animation, if we're going to see this animated, which would be pretty awesome.
through an animation of this one would go hard. Not only that, uh, speaking of Eggman, I do see him trying to, join forces with Darkseid just to get betrayal.
Yeah, that would be
It's
fun.
kind of given at this point.
Yeah, that would be incredibly fun.
I am Dr. Eggman. I would like to sign an alliance. Then gets betrayed like in the next issue.
Yeah. Um, I like seeing one of the more underrated interactions I would have to say is probably Silver and Green Lantern.
Yeah, I didn't really care about Silver and Green Lantern, but
But
it's nice to see it. It's nice to
just
see
make sure
them.
Silver doesn't watch the Green Lantern movie with Ryan Reynolds.
I'm gonna make him watch that. I feel that that's a perfect device of torture.
Yeah, I am excited to see the more build up, and I would say overall this is going to be very exciting.
Yeah, I hope the next issue when it comes out, maybe tomorrow, because for me it's one day later. I hope we see more of these interactions. I want to see more of Sonic and the Flash and Tails with Cyborg. Now I'm fully picked up on that.
Yep.
If you want to see something like for the future issues of this run comic, what's it gonna be?
Maybe there's not going to be any more heroes added to this, but I would have loved to see just them going a little bit more hog wild with it. Maybe since we know that it's going to get extended to next year as well, maybe we could also see Rouge pop up along with maybe like Omega pop up.
Oh, and we could see something like I don't know, Catwoman and Rouge, and who could be a good pairing for Omega? Now that I think about it,
I guess Cyborg would have been, but they're going with Tails.
yeah. So who's gonna be? Maybe one of the. I don't know if there are many robots in DC. I know about Armazo, but that was a bad guy. So I don't know what they can cook. I also want to see Blaze and who's going to be paired with.
Yeah. Maybe in the future we can get more creative stuff, but even then, like everything that we did get was borderline fantastic.
Yeah. Even for the start, they're going this hard. I want to see what's next for the other issues. Also, this begs the question: what are the chances that we see Sonic in the Marvel universe?
No, I
Since
don't
we
think
got
we're gonna get
Mystique,
Marvel. It would be funny though, since Roger Craig Smith does voice Captain America.
you have the same voice as me. No, not only that. What I remember that Sonic X is an anime, right?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like an anime made in United States. This will also open the possibility, if Sega ever wants it, that we can see, I don't know, Goku with Sonic or maybe even more crazy combinations, because that's what the fans want. They want to see like crazy things going with the franchise now.
Yeah. Speaking of sticking around, we're gonna get around to the next episode of the podcast of disaster. If you enjoyed this episode, please let us know in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe as we have finally rebooted the podcast after a bit of a break. Thank you so much for watching and be good to yourselves, others, and mothers, and we will see you next time.
See ya, everyone.
Hey.